Hello everybody. In this video, we are going to be doing a little bit of a VOD review on a deathmatch for a bronze player. Now, in most of my VOD reviews, they're real games, so I would be going over strategies and things like that. But in today's video, we're going to be doing a deathmatch video where we go over his gameplay, and I've never seen this yet. So we're going to be going over this fresh. I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know his issues just yet, but we're going to be finding and pinpointing what issues he has and how we can fix them, and how you guys can fix them if you have the same issues. So starting off, one thing I want to talk about is something that kind of doesn't pop out to everybody, but it's something that pops out to me almost immediately. Now, I need you guys to understand the importance of the distance between angles. So this is going to be a little bit of a philosophy thing where you need to understand what angle advantage is. So for example, and I can do a little bit of a diagram here. So if you have a wall here, now we can just use this wall right here. So if your enemy is behind this wall, so say that the green circle is an enemy and the wall is the wall, obviously. So if you're this far away from an enemy, okay, and you see the enemy's head and you only see a sliver of their head, so like if only like a little bit is peeking out, that means that if you are further away from this angle, they cannot see you whatsoever. So that means that the further away you are from an angle and the closer your enemy is to an angle, the more of an advantage you get when you're peeking them. And how I notice this is the way he is so close to this angle. So what you should be doing in every single game you play, especially if you're in lower rank, is distancing yourself from the angle as soon as you're about to peek it, or just as much as possible, distance yourself from any angle. And what I noticed here is a very common mistake from pretty much every single rank. I only really see this in higher ranks where people will back up from an angle before they peek it. But this is a really, really easy way to improve. So like right here, you're peeking the angle very, very close to it. And I know it might not seem like too big of a deal, but in deathmatch, you really should be trying to work on more than just shooting. You need to be working on your movement as well. And movement isn't just as simple as counter-strafing and learning how to navigate the map, but it's also about positioning yourself so that you have the highest chance to defeat your enemy. And the easiest way to do that is distancing yourself from an angle like I talked about there. Okay, so right here, we are not waiting for our spray to reset. So we take a shot, then we move immediately because the KJ is moving, which is an okay strategy. So what we need to be doing is when we take our shot here, we take a shot and we miss, then we move immediately to throw her shot off, which is a good strategy. This is something that I do quite often. Now, after we get shot once, so once you start getting bullet tagged, that's when you need to stop moving and you need to start aiming. So that is the main premise of how you want to take your duels. Is you can take the first shot, but if you're standing still and they're moving, you need to either start moving if you haven't hit the first shot, and then you stop when they stop, take the headshot. So right here, again, you are very, very panicked. As you can see, you find the guy, you miss your first shot, you move, you're continuously moving, you never really actually stop here. So look at how you're always moving in this instead of just stopping. So honestly, what I would do is you should play a deathmatch where you, instead of panicking and trying to counter strafe and stuff like that, just let go of your controls whenever you see somebody. You just let go of your controls and focus on your aim. That should help you with the panic issues that you have here. So like, look, another time you see somebody, you're not pre-aiming correctly, you panic, you start spraying, and then look how far your crosshair goes down. Let me go in slow motion here. So watch how far your crosshair moves down. So you aim at his head, and then the literal so your second bullet, you see how far you go from like here to here in one bullet. And then look, now you're all the way over here at 4 bullets down. Your crosshair should be at minimum like mid-level, like right here. So you see how far you're moving down and how quickly you are moving your crosshair downwards because you're trying to compensate for your spray when you don't need to. And I wish I had Valorant open so I could show you guys what I mean, but all you really have to do is aim at the enemy's head level, and then you can move your body by crouching to move your crosshair down. So there's no real need to actually pull down in this game. So what I would really, actually, this is a perfect example right here. Right here, you didn't have to pull down because you were already pre-aiming the enemy, right? So if you're already aiming at the enemy's, chest level, which you are here, you don't need to pull down because their head is going to be there already. So that's what you guys should be thinking about whenever you are playing the game. You don't need to pull down with your sprays at all. Make sure you're just aiming at the head level, and if the enemy crouches, you can crouch with them. Although crouching in this game is a little bit hit or miss, so be careful crouching all the time. I wouldn't crouch with every one of your sprays, but you see what he's doing here, counter-strafing back and forth as he's shooting his enemy without moving his crosshair down. That is perfect. That is how you want to be practicing, and you can see that he has an issue here where whenever he pulls down, he doesn't actually reset his crosshair back to the normal position. So you could see that he starts having his crosshair in a good spot where it's somewhat head level here, although I'd like it to be a little higher. And then as soon as he's done with that, he should be moving it back up, but he keeps it at this like really, really low level. And I think the easiest way to figure out how to reset your crosshair is kind of use the map. So as soon as you get this kill, you can kind of see that this little grate here is head level. And that is common for a lot of things on the map. So like just in the shot, there's this grate that's head level. This little box here is head level. There's a few other things probably that's head level. Like this sign is head level. As you can see, it's just about head level with Cypher. This orange thing on the wall is head level. So anywhere in between the orange line there is head level. So you can really easily reset your crosshair to head level. Like for example, this line right here is head level. Like the map will tell you where the enemy's heads are going to be. So you just need to use the map and kind of use the knowledge that the map gives you to aim at the enemy's heads. And especially for angles like this, where there is a ramp right here and you have to go up the ramp. Now, how can we figure out where the enemy's head is going to be? You can aim kind of at this. So this goes over here and this is going to be a little bit head level. So you can see that this goes all the way out here, and this is going to be head level for the enemies that are peeking you this way. Although there's no real head level for this, you kind of have to really just guess. Maybe even the top of the screen here would be head level if they were coming rafters, but that is a little bit difficult to judge without a player there. So we found a decent bit of issues already, and we're just going to keep watching until I see another one. So again, your crosshair is very, very low, pretty naturally. Oh, 1 second. Come here, Oscar. Come here, Oscar. All right, I'm back. Let me watch this. So let's see what happened here. All right, so we know the omen is there. Now, whenever we know a character is around a corner like this, so we know the omen's here, and we know he's likely going to peek. So in this scenario, will going forward actually help us win this duel? Will getting closer to him, will making any noise, I mean, obviously you don't want to be shifting in deathmatch, but will making any noise like actually help us kill him? And the answer is no. So what you want to do in this scenario, when somebody is guaranteed going to peek you, you can just stand still and counter strafe back and forth. You don't have to push forward. You don't have to really move that much. And you can see here that because you counter strafe too far to the left, this angle was blocking him off, which gave him a big advantage on you because you were sitting in the open on his screen because this corner here is further away from him than you are to it. So you couldn't see him. So for example, like, let me just play that back. Oopsies. I don't like the 5-second interval. So right here, you can't see him, but he can see you. So he's lining up his shot on you right here. but you can't actually see him at all, which forces you to go out of this corner, which is pretty much right as soon as you're taking damage. So he's getting the first shot on you already, and you have to line up your shot. So how you can counter this is by just standing still in the open here before he peeks you. You can just stand still, wait for him to peek you, then you can move, and then you can shoot him. Oopsies, let me go back. Okay. And again, look at your crosshair placement. It's very, very, very low. You need to start lining it up with higher things on the walls. So like the plant here is head level. That's pretty much it that's head level here on this one. The door is head level. Okay, a little bit weak on the spray. So a lot of the times whenever I see people do these taps here, they're always doing taps a little bit too fast. So you can see it's pretty obvious when the spray doesn't fully reset. Like for example, like you're taking a little bit too quick of a shot. So you take your first burst here and then you're aiming at her head. But if you had just waited maybe 10 milliseconds, that shot would have hit her head and you can take an accurate shot. It's very common for people to not fully reset their sprays before they take their next shot because they're kind of panicked. Let's talk about this shot or this clip right here. All right, so this is actually fine, although I don't like that you're shooting while moving. You should be taking the time whenever you, so this is a pretty okay way to do it. The only thing that I would have changed is not shooting as you are counter strafing her. So whenever an enemy is, not looking at you, you take a shot at them and you miss, then they turn around and they start shooting at you. That's when you want to move left or right, depending on the amount of space, counter strafing, making sure that you are aiming at their body or head because they're standing still now. And that's when you can take the headshot. So you got the spray down there, but it's much, much easier to just get the headshot whenever you are counter strafing. So, and again, you're aiming quite low here all the time. You're aiming very, very low. So you're starting your shot right here. Oopsies. Starting your shot right here at the hips, and that is not okay. We need to be aiming at the head level. Now, again, whenever we are encountering a situation with a ramp, so what you should be doing is whenever you are aiming head level here, oopsies, I don't have my Epic Pen open anymore. Let me open that real quick. So whenever you're aiming head level, like right here, and you see a ramp that goes up, you need to immediately and subconsciously adjust your crosshair upwards. So in this scenario, you'd want to line it up right here with the bottom of the screen. That's the next head level, or right here with the line on this. And you can see that you don't adjust your crosshair. And again, it is way too low where it's just going to be shooting the enemies in the body and the legs, which you don't want. So I find that your crosshair placement is one of the biggest issues that you currently have, as well as a little bit of counter strafing issues, although that should come with time and practice like you are doing. And right here, you are not sure which target to pick. There's one in here and there is one watching you, but you don't know which one to go for. That is completely okay. Another thing that I notice a lot that you are doing is you kind of have a lazy crosshair. And what I mean by that is whenever you see me playing, and let me just see if I can pull up a clip real quick to give you an example of what I mean. So let's see if this clip works out. So this clip, for example, so whenever you see me playing, just watch my crosshair. Watch how it kind of magnets to the corner. So every single corner that I encounter is going to, okay, except for right here. That was just, I think I was just like brain farting there. Let me actually just go to a different clip because that one's bad. Let's just go to a VOD, honestly. So you can see that my crosshair is just glued to the edge of the corner here. And anytime that I'm doing something, my crosshair is going to be usually glued to the corner. So like as I go around this corner, my crosshair is already on this corner here, pre-aiming where they're going to be. And then as soon as I know that there's a staircase there, I adjust upwards for the enemy's head level. Now, again, whenever I am going out anywhere, always aiming at the edge of the corner, making sure that the enemy is there, you know, right where my crosshair is going to be, instead of having to move my crosshair to where the enemy is. Now, every time you are moving and just going anywhere on the map, let me go to another round. This might be a better way to describe this. So always be making sure you are holding the angles that the enemies can be as you are going anywhere you go. All right, let's, I don't have a super good example there, but let's go back to the video. Nice. All right. Yeah, again, you're very, 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 very kind of not panicky, but you take your shots very quickly before you're aiming. So you see a target, then you kind of just move your crosshair at them and then you shoot instead of accurately aiming at them. So there's a difference between aiming at them and, you know, having your crosshair on them, because if you are consciously aiming at them and you have your crosshair on them, and you're just shooting, then you should be aiming at, you know, a specific part of them, which should be their head, of course. And you can see there, again, you panic as soon as you see this guy. You panic and you pull down like, I'm pretty sure you pull down on your first shot. Let's watch this back on slow motion. So right here, this is a good crosshair placement where you are going around the corner like that. You see him, and then you just immediately start like throwing your crosshair to the ground, compensating. So what you're doing is you're compensating for the spray before the spray even comes out. So like literally on your first bullet here, oops. Literally on your second bullet, you're already aiming at her chest. Like your bullet's accurate. You can see it goes directly onto your crosshair, and then your bullet's like never leaving your crosshair. So the spray that you're compensating for is coming in 4 to 5 bullets. So what you're doing is you're moving your crosshair down and then you're waiting. But what you should be doing is aim, like you should spend this whole second that you like have shooting at this person. Instead of spending the time waiting for your spray to go to her head, you can spend all of this time that you spent missing aiming at her, and then spend that 1 millisecond that you're, you know, that she starts shooting back at you to left click. So you should spend more of your time aiming and not panicking, and less of your time just holding down M1 and hoping that the bullets will hit them, which is a really, really important thing to do. And I'm going to play some deathmatch, so I have a really good way to counter this strategy, or not counter this strategy, but you know, fix this issue. You can see here that again we're shooting a little bit before we are done counter strafing, which is an issue. That was all right. All right, let's watch one more kill and then we will go into a deathmatch and I can show you how to practice this better. All right, so you see there, you really, really don't move your mouse very often. Like, look at the mouse movements in this kill, where you are aiming near him. You miss your first shot because you're panicked. You're not aiming at him yet. and then you counter strafe to try and aim at its head. You keep tapping and tapping and tapping when you're not ready, and you're just doing things way too early before you're ready. So let's go into Valorant and let's talk about how we can improve that. Let me I'm probably going to cut all this middle part out so that there's no like downtime in the video. I don't really know how to cut it out yet, but I'll do it. All right, let's queue up for a deathmatch real quick.
Match found.
Nice, quick. Con, are you here in the chat? I saw that you followed 20 minutes ago. I just saw that. All right. So getting into deathmatch, we are going to be practicing our aiming at the enemies and then shooting them whenever we are ready instead of shooting them whenever the enemy is ready. So this is going to be a little bit difficult to get used to in deathmatch, and what we are going to be doing is we're going to be aiming at the enemies, and then whenever they stop, we are going to be headshotting them. So that is the very, very basics of what we're doing here. So we're going to be moving. We're going to be, as soon as we see an enemy, we're not going to shoot immediately. We are going to wait for the enemy to shoot at us first, and then we are going to aim at them. And if an enemy is counter-strafing like that, you need to just go for the shot on them because it's very difficult to shoot an enemy that is constantly counter-strafing back and forth. And I would say the easiest way to shoot or to get an enemy to stop is to start shooting first. So I'll show you whenever this starts how you can easily practice this counter-strafing strategy. So what you want to do is as soon as you find an enemy, you can shoot near them, and then you wait a second or two, and you counter strafe. So you're hoping for the enemy to crouch, and it might be easier in your death matches. I don't really know if there's an MMR in death matches, but you're hoping for the enemy to stop and crouch so that you can aim at their head and then just one tap them with your counter strafes. So that is the goal, and we'll see if we can get some in this video. And make sure that you are keeping an eye out on how my crosshair moves. You can see how it kind of just glides next to corners, and that's how you really, really want to be. So I forgot to let that Viper shoot at me first. So you can see here how he shoots at me first, or I shoot at him first, and then he immediately goes into a crouch. And we can use that time that he's going into a crouch in full spray to counter strafe and then headshot him. So right here, I'm going to let this KJ crouch. Oh, and she got me. Unfortunate. And this is going to happen a lot, but you need to really be patient with it. And the whole goal for this exercise is to... I really want this guy to stop. All right, he didn't. But the whole goal for this exercise is patience. Because patience is one of the most important ways to practice in this game. And you can see right there, he stopped, he crouched, and I took the time to just headshot him. It's very, very simple. And this is going to happen a lot in your lower ranked games where people are very, very prone to crouching, where you don't really need to kind of throw them off to make them crouch. All you have to do is just peek them, and then you wait. But you can see there, he crouches and then he moves. So we need to take the time that the enemy is spending on crouching there to just aim at them. It's very, very easy. And you can see that whenever I am shooting people, I'm not doing something like this, where like, you can see that the gun has to go down a little bit. That is not what we want, ever. We always want the first shot to be accurate. We want the spray to be fully reset before we actually take our shot. Oh, that's unfortunate. You can see that person likes to crouch. So you're going to find a few people that really like to crouch in your death matches, and it's going to be very, very easy to practice on them. So make sure that you are singling them out whenever you can, if you see them. And that is probably all I have. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, comment down below. I will answer them as fast as I can, and I will see you guys in the next video. I don't know how to end it. Oh, God.